More on this whole subject, let's bring in Ben Domenech, Fox News contributor, and Marc Thiessen, also Fox News contributor. Gentlemen, you probably heard the riff. You probably heard my conversation with James Blair. Ben, I want to see the Republicans' full-throated attack on all of this. The anti-Semitism, the hatred of Jews and Israel, this idea that Palestine is more important than America, as well as their bad economics. But somehow the hatred and the bigotry worries me even more, for the long-run health of this country. It's destroying New York City. Believe me when I tell you that. It's sucking the blood out of New York City. But GOP... I'm a supply sider and economics guy, but you got to put your foot down here squarely. Don't dodge this issue of hatred and bigotry and anti-Semitism, Ben.
Larry, I think that the problem here has been one where the Republican Party basically was laughing at what kind of crazy ideas the Democratic radical left was coming up with without realizing that it was actually taking over their party. It was becoming something that was actually a plurality of the people who were voting for them, that it was taking over their younger class of voters who are energized and who are pushing this stuff. I think that Republicans for far too long pretended like this was something that they could laugh at and could actually benefit the GOP because they would be able to say, look at how crazy these people are. No, it actually has a foothold now, a significant one. And the people that are being elected now, they're not the Jasmine Crockett's of the world. They're not, influencers of the like. They are people who are actually steeped in this, people who came from the campus protest movement. And, their agenda, call it the Borat agenda if you want. Basically, item one is throw the Jew down the well. It's one of these things that I think is so offensive, so horrible, so very and virulently anti-Semitic that it should be very easy to fight back against. But I think Republicans need to understand this is a very real threat to our republic and our democracy. If you end up with these people in Congress with the ability to use the levers of power that happens there, they will take over that Democratic Party, which is a husk of its former self. Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, they do not lead this party anymore. And
Marc, James Blair is a good guy. I'm sure both of you know him well. Yep. But the point's very important. The Republicans cannot dodge this hate issue, this anti-Semitism issue. They cannot dodge this because it is so corrosive and it becomes symbolic. Today's hatred aimed at Jews, tomorrow Catholics, the next day who knows where. It spreads. That's what hatred does. That's why you got to put your foot down. So far, I'm underwhelmed by the GOP response. I'm also kind of underwhelmed by the GOP response on the economy. I'm sure they can't get another big, beautiful bill through, but they ought to be messaging it. I think Blair knows that, and to his credit, if he wants a good turnout. But this other hatred stuff, Ben's right. This has taken hold of the Democrats. Who knows where it's going to go next? And you got to put your foot down and stop it right away. Otherwise, we're all going to be in trouble in this country.
Yeah, well, the issues are related. So President Trump says they're communists. You say they're anti-Semites. I say yes.
Yeah.
They're both.
Yeah.
If you remember when the communists came to power in the Soviet Union, what did? They sent Natan Sharansky to the Gulag. They remember the refuseniks? That communists are communism and anti-Semitism are close cousins. And so to Ben's point before, I think we have a anti-Semitism problem in the country, and it exists on both the right and the left, but it's different on the right than it is on the left. On the right, it's a fringe phenomenon. On the left, it's a mainstream elite phenomenon. Yeah. So for example, look at Congress. We basically had two virulent anti-Semites in the Republican caucus in Congress. They're Tom Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene. And Trump drove both of them out of the Republican Party.
Yes.
Right? Whereas the Democrats, they have the squad, they have AOC, they have Rashida Tlaib, they have Ilhan Omar, and they've decided that they need to add to those ranks. And so we've got four of them now coming up. The Chevalier, Lander, we've got Hamawi, who actually has affiliations with Al-Qaeda, who've testified for the blind sheikh. They're doubling down on it. You don't see neo-Nazi marches at Harvard. You do see pro-Hamas marches at Harvard. So the left-wing anti-Semitism is an elite phenomenon, and that's why it's so important for the conservative movement. These anti-Semites are trying to get their nose under the tent and join the movement. We got to, the Nick Fuentes of the world, the Theo Vaughns, the Tucker Carlsons, the Candace Owens. They have to be excommunicated and ostracized, because if we want to see what it looks like with those people in the tent, just look at the Democratic Party today.
Last point. Thank you, Marc. Very good. Great stuff. Ben, I'm a longtime editor of National Review magazine. I actually worked there full time for a couple. William F. Buckley is a friend and mentor of mine. Let us not forget. Yep. You talk about Donald Trump reading the anti-Semites out of the Republican Party. Exactly right. It was Bill Buckley that rode the anti-Semites out of the National Review conservative movement. He wouldn't tolerate any of it. The Birchers and whoever, this is back in the 50s and 60s, but Bill Buckley was right. We need Bill Buckleys today for a lot of reasons, but we need stand up, just go and confront this right. Don't dodge it, Ben, you know what I'm saying? Go for it. Read them out of the party and blame Democrats if they won't. That's all there is to it. And by the way, blame Wall Street if they won't do it. You've got, Jewish leaders on Wall Street that are silent. Not all of them, Lord knows, but many of them. Bankers, business people in this town, they're afraid to take on Mondami, and most of all, they're afraid to take on this anti-Semitic scourge. Has to be done. Bill Buckley was right, Ben.
Yeah, well, obviously it was, but I also think that one of the things that we need to appreciate is how much of this is a purposeful and fomented aspect of what we see in the online discourse. There are so many paid influencers who are backing the DSA and Mamdani. There is so much money flowing into promoting this, and it is designed to benefit America's enemies. I am interested in the future of America in this 250th year, defending ourselves against foreign enemies, and they love the fact that we are tearing ourselves apart over old disagreements and old vindictive, bigoted comments and things like that. They love that, okay? And so when you see these types of people promoted by this Democratic Party, first, shame to all these people, these politicians who are elected, these senators and congressmen who can't denounce this and say what it is, which is unacceptable, that they shouldn't be allowed within their conference, their coalition. They don't want them within their party because what they believe is so evil and anti-American, that they believe something that is at odds with the existence of Western civilization. I want to see that kind of courage from Democrats. God help us, there's only one John Fetterman. So, find somebody else who's willing to say it.
Well, we have to ring the bell, and you've helped me ring the bell. And I appreciate both of you, Ben Domenech and Marc Thiessen, very, very much. We all must ring the bell right now.